Hi everyone, I'm Ready Legal, and this is episode 2 of Learn to Play TEW 2020, looking around the business. And there is a change of plan. Today's episode will take us through the TV deals, the events and TV shows that we have, and we'll also be looking at our size and popularity. There was another couple of things I wanted to show you in the product screen, which I completely forgot about really. I was just kind of going full steam ahead. There's obviously other options in here. The face heel divide. Yes, we will have a face and heel divide. There's the Tenneco and Rudo as well. It's the same thing. I can't remember. I think that might be Mexican, but it's the same thing really. It's the good guys, bad guys, and you can either strictly enforce this, loosely enforce it, or not enforced at all. Now, if you're not going to enforce it, you could just say no. We're not going to have a face heel divide. But sometimes it's a good idea just to have it on as an organisational tool. So when you come to book shows, you know who your faces are, you know who your heels are. If you don't enforce it, you get no penalties for having face versus face or heel versus heel. If you loosely enforce it, you get lesser penalties for having face versus face and heel versus heel. If you strictly enforce it, then if you have a face versus face or a heel versus heel, you're going to get bigger penalties. That doesn't always necessarily mean bad matches, but it means you will get penalties. I always like to have it on loosely enforced because I think throughout history there's been some awesome matches that are face versus face. Brett versus Bulldog, SummerSlam '92, probably the best match I ever saw live. I mean, not at the show, but saw it. Saw watching the pay-per-view live. Face versus face, what a match! So I like to have it as loosely enforced. Weight split. We could have a weight split. I've never used it, so I don't know how it splits it. Whether it literally splits it, heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight, small. I don't know if it splits it that much or if it just splits it a little bit. But I don't do that anyway. It's probably there's probably companies out there that do that or that have done that throughout history. I'm pretty sure back in the old days, like the British wrestling scene had lightweight, heavyweight, that sort of thing. Stables. I don't tend to use stables. I'm starting to kind of use them a bit. I can see their benefits, and it can help people get over and that sort of thing. When I was growing up watching wrestling, you didn't really have stables. You had groups, but they weren't stables like they are today. I'm going to say yes because we might introduce a stable or two. I don't want to restrict myself by saying no. Integral probably just means you have to have them or you might get penalties. I don't know actually. As I say, I don't usually dabble with stables much, but we'll say yes. Managers, yes, we will have managers. There are some wrestlers out there that they could be the best thing since sliced bread, but they can't talk. So you give them a mouthpiece. So we will have managers. These things here, I never touch them really. Spinal impact moves are not allowed. High risk moves are not allowed. It probably affects match ratings somewhere along the line, but it also probably means that there's less chance of people getting injured. Matches should be called in the ring or matches should be scripted. Well, you can change that to your liking during the booking of the match anyway. This just automatically puts it in there. Women's wrestling. Now, this product already had a small division on it. Now, I tell a lie, it actually had integrated on it. Now, I'm not interested in doing an integrated women's wrestling. I don't usually book women's wrestling. I don't usually have a division. It's just because it's more to kind of think about and more to do. So I'm gonna say no for the moment, but we can change that. If you have this set to any of these, and you don't have any women's matches, then you're going to get a penalty at the end of the show where it says fans expected to see some women on the show or some women in ladies matches. So we're going to say none. It's interesting that it was set as integral already when there's actually no women wrestlers on the roster. But anyway, match focus. Now, you can go into the question mark here to read in depth because I can't remember what they are, but it all kind of it affects the match, the show ratings. So main event spotlight means the main event is going to pull in most of your score for the show. Free ring circus, I think, is like the best free matches. You get an average of the best free matches. Ensemble, I can't remember what ensemble is, but this is all down to how many matches and which matches draw your most have the biggest impact on your final show rating. Regular focus, I think, is something like it's still the majority of the main event, but there's a higher percentage of all the other matches. I do tend to like Free Ring Circus. So an average of your best 3 matches. I think there's probably still a percentage of everything else as well, but it won't be as much. Angle focus is roughly the same, but it's angles instead of matches. I like to have highlights, so I think you get a bigger, more angles are taken into account than just the highest scored ones, or So I like to have highlights. Again, I think it's something like the best 3 get an average or something, but that's the one I tend to like it on. The AI booking style, well, we're not AI, so I'm not going to go into detail with this, but it's just kind of how the AI books it over the years. So if you were playing a really long-term game, it would kind of the company would change its style over time and that sort of thing. So that's just what I wanted to show you. There was a couple of other little bits in there. Our events and TV shows. At the moment, we have one TV show, Hardcore TV, every Saturday. It's an hour long. I'm going to change that because an hour is probably just not quite long enough. It may have been for the original product. The matches may have been shorter. I can't remember, but yeah, I think an hour and a half is usually about right for what I want. So you go to modify this TV show. It's an A show. We want it to be an hour and a half, provided the networks it's on are going to agree, of course. So it's held on a Saturday, but it's shown on a Friday, and we tape one show at a time. I'm going to change this because it's shown on a Saturday and then broadcast the following week. And I prefer to have something a little bit more. I'd rather have it sort of broadcast on a Thursday, or even just held on a Friday, broadcast on a Friday. I would do it a bit earlier than that, but at the moment we are Monday in game, and I want to give it a couple of days to hope we can make these signings. I mean, we might not even have kind of commentator for this, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when I come to it, and I'll show you what you do if you don't. There's no brand. It's not dormant because it's on air, and we're not numbering each episode. So it'd come up as like ECW Hardcore TV, #1, #2, #3. So we're not numbering them. Save that. Okay, so we're lucky there that the networks agreed to that. If we tried to do a 3-hour show, it'd probably say such and such network don't agree. So whatever. Okay, we have, by the looks of it, an end of month event every month, which is what you want. I didn't say pay-per-view because they might not be on pay-per-view. We're going to have a look at our TV deals in a minute. I prefer Saturday's a great day because you're not competing with the WWF, which I think WWF and possibly WCW in this save have their shows on a Sunday. But I am going to change all of these to week 4. And the reason I do that, it's just more for my benefit to be organised, to know where I am. I know I've always got a pay-per-view on the Saturday of the last week of the month. And you can spend week 1, 2, 3 and 4 TV building up to that pay-per-view. So you kind of know where you are, and that's it. It's kind of like it's a finale every week, isn't it? Oh, sorry, every month. So that's it's just for my benefit as an organisational tool. So I'm going to go in and modify event. It looks a bit different, this screen, because there's a lot more going on for pay-per-views. They're 2.5 hours, so that's a good time, actually. If we're going to have a TV show of an hour and a half, they get an extra hour for the pay-per-view. So Saturday, week 4. There's a few other options. Status is active. Intent, normal. Lesser means the fans don't expect as much, but you probably won't get much of a crowd either. Touring event, don't really do tours. I'm not sure what impact that would have. And throwaway, which is it's kind of like lesser, really. It's just a throwaway show. The fans aren't going to expect to get the best matches in the world, but by the same token, you're probably not going to draw as many fans either. Ticket pricing, I always leave at default. I don't think I've ever changed any of these. Premium, you'd probably do for WrestleMania. Cheap, very cheap, and free are if you can afford it, and you might be a bit small, but you want to increase your popularity. You're going to get bigger crowds, but you're not going to draw any money. So there's pros and cons. Season finale. This is if like a WrestleMania is a season finale. So people wait all year to see this event. This is like your big event of the year. This is the one. It's going to draw more people, but fans are going to be more expectant as well. AI instructions, well, we don't worry about those. Live music. Again, for your big shows, your WrestleMania, your SummerSlam, you might decide to have a band. Now, at our size, we can only get a minor band as the max. So when you become really big, you can get world class bands, and they cost a lot more than 25 grand. Celebrities. Again, when you're bigger, you can get A list celebrities. At the moment, we can only get local and minor. Special set. So again, for your bigger shows, you can decide to spend a bit more money on the set. It gives a better live experience for the people there. I do tend to do that on the bigger shows. Fixed region area. So this particular pay per view will always be in the US. We could turn that off. We could change it to being always in Europe. But we'll keep it at US at the moment. I can't imagine us going anywhere else for shows at the moment. You can also fix the venue. So every year it will be in the same venue. Revives and goes dormant. This is just if you want it to automatically stop happening at a certain time. So you want it to go dormant in uh, February 1999, then 1998 will be your last one, and then that's it. So I wanted to change. Yep, Saturday week for January. I'll go through and do the rest. So November to Remember is our season finale. So as this mod starts in December, we've got a whole year to wait until our big show, which is kind of good in a way because if your season finale or if our season finale was straight away, then well I've built nothing for it, have I? I don't know what matches I want at my big event. So it's kind of good that we're starting in December, so we missed this season finale. And this one's 3 hours. I'm gonna change it to 2.5 hours, which I've done. You may have seen in the sped up video. I've done that with a few of the others. It's just to make them all the same, so you know where you are. Okay, so that's all our shows done. There's a couple of dormant ones here. We could decide to bring them back if we want. So, I mean, we won't. We've got one every month anyway. That's where we are with our events. I want to take a look at our TV deals, and there's a little icon here, like a satellite dish, that takes you to all of the broadcasters. For the moment, I just want to see what we've currently got, and to do that, this little broadcasting one down here at the bottom, and it shows us. So for events, we have Request TV. It's a cable-based pay-per-view provider, so we are airing on pay-per-view, and it looks like they air in the US and Canada. So we could do with getting a few more viewers in Canada, but we'll keep it as it is. Very small as well in the US. So obviously, ideally, you want the bigger the better, and the biggest one in this game is enormous, and it goes from like very small, medium, and then I think it's big, very big, huge, enormous. So there's quite a lot there. But I think in time, when we change the US, we'll change Canada at the same time. It'll probably mean that we have a separate broadcaster for both. But this obviously will make do in the meantime. We've got 9 months on it, so plenty of time. Very high risk with our product. Well, tell a lie because we've changed the product in game. But someone like ECW in their proper product would need something like very high risk because they show hardcore wrestling. They show extreme segments and angles and that sort of thing. So you've got to keep an eye on this. If you've got a family friendly product, you can have any. They can be low, okay, but something like the original ECW products would need something that's got high or very high risk. So we could do with getting some viewers elsewhere. Whether we will or not, it all depends on our popularity in other areas. But let's just have a quick look at what else we've got for TV. So for TV shows, we are broadcasting in the United Kingdom, which means we will have some pop there. So we could get our events shown in the UK as well, but we probably wouldn't get pay-per-view yet. Although it's possible, it's unlikely. So we will have some sort of pop in the UK. Although saying that, we're obviously not doing something right because we're in the red there. We don't pass their requirements. We should be medium. Our broadcast quality should be in-house, and we don't have the minimum popularity requirements. So this has obviously just been put in by the mod maker. So we are actually in danger possibly of losing this deal if we don't get the minimum. I mean, we should get the minimum quality of shows. So we should be okay. and we've got 2 years, so we shouldn't lose it until that's up. Hopefully in 2 years we'll have all these things. The popularity might be an issue, but we can raise these. Well, medium we should get to, but that's easily fixed. This one here with the broadcast quality. We are also showing hardcore TV in the tri-state. Again, we've got the same issue here. That's popularity requirements. So we've got some work to do to keep these deals. And we're also showing in the southeast. I'm a little bit disappointed in that. I like to think we could have got a deal in the whole of the US. We might not get many viewers, but we would be increasing our pop elsewhere. We need to have a look at what our popularity is really. So in the US, I mean, we could probably get a better deal. The only issue we have, we are showing in the southeast and tri-state separately. So if we were to get a deal to cover the whole US, we might not be able to get that because we're already showing in these two. So I might need to look for separate deals for the southwest, northwest, New England, Midwest. Okay. Now, what is our pop in the UK actually? Just out of interest. Yeah, right. So we have got a lot of work to do if we're going to keep that deal with Bravo. To get a TV deal, it's this one. Well, you could do it via this one here, but I always go to this one. And first thing, search for what type you want. I don't usually worry about type too much. It's a little bit of a hassle really because you can't just go to I want pay-per-view. You've got to say whether you want terrestrial pay-per-view, cable pay-per-view, or internet pay-per-view. So I just kind of search and just see what the company is up here. Any style, well, you could put a style in. I don't think it makes too much difference. I mean, with a sports focused company, yes, you've got maybe more chance of getting it. I don't know. I always ignore that one. We want to look for coverage in the USA, and we want them to be ones that will negotiate with us. So a quick search. Okay, we're stuffed. No one wants to negotiate with us. Now, part of that could be our production. I mean, we do have, it says here, you are currently below the broadcast quality required for Bravo UK. I'm going to increase that now anyway, if I can remember where the button is. Production. There we go. It's the only one in red. So upgrading that, I mean, currently it says we employ a small professional unit to shoot the show on industry standard equipment. You get good coverage and multiple angles to edit from. The cost is $2,500 per show to run this setup. Now to upgrade, it's going to cost us 10 grand and then 7,500 a month. That sounds a lot, but when you get to the higher bands, you get a monthly cost and a per show cost. So 7,500 a month isn't too bad. Let's just have a quick look at our finances. There's a screen here, view financial estimates. Wage bill is 52,300 and our estimated sponsorship income is 46,381. Now it could be there or thereabouts, could be lower, could be higher. But we know we're going to be able to cover that 7,500. So it's a no-brainer with the possibility as well of getting more TV deals. We're going to upgrade this, and it means we maintain an in-house crew to shoot and edit your shows. They use industry standard equipment and have the advantage of understanding wrestling rather than being an external unit. Okay, done. Now, if we look at people who, well, there's still no one. Okay, that was a little bit disappointing. So we've got quite a lot of work to do. If we're going to get some TV deals, let's just see if, I mean, we're not going to get any of those. So I'm looking for tiny and very small. I'm just going to flick down these until I find a tiny, very small. So there we go. Comcast Sports, a commercial terrestrial channel. Now, commercial is what you want. You don't have to have commercial, but commercial, you can get paid part of the revenue. Now, they won't negotiate with us, but let's see why. It's the minimum requirements. We need 44 in 3 regions. So we're quite far away from that. So let's just see if there's any more that might talk to us. Okay, so it doesn't look like anyone's going to talk to us. So This is going to be a tough one for a while. It's not impossible, and it's part of the challenge. And this, obviously, if you start a company from scratch, from the very bottom, this is what you got to deal with, and you're only likely to get a TV deal in one region, really. So most of these were popularity requirements, and it was things like we needed. I think most of them were around the 35 mark. Some of them were 40. So we're not a million miles away. We just need to continue to put on. Well, I say continue. We haven't started, but we just need to be putting on decent shows. We need to be increasing our popularity every time, and then we can, get somewhere. So I think for the first probably at least 6 to 9 months, we're going to be stuck with a very small TV deal, and one that, to be honest, isn't a secure one. So we do need to be getting our pop up. And that wraps up episode 2. Sorry about the change of plan. I went to sort of start recording. I did a couple of bits, and then it turns out it was a lot longer than expected, so I couldn't sort of go through the roster. But I promise the next episode, the first thing I do, we will be looking at that roster, and we will be looking at the people we're pushing. And I'll see you there soon. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Please leave a like and subscribe if you have, and ask any questions in the comments below. Take care. Goodbye.